4 minutes till show. I'll just play something fun. One minute. Somebody on Twitter says, add the music from Ghost. They're listening in. I know. Oh, you read it from them?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought the same thing earlier, but I didn't have time to do that while I was getting ready.
Tony, it is 1 o'clock.
Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
Yes, yes, yes.
I got a little change in my pocket going jingle-lang-a-lang. Wants to call you on the telephone, baby. I give you a ring, but each time we talk, I get the same old thing. Always no huggy, no kissy until I get a wedding ring. My honey, my baby, don't put my love upon no shelf. She said don't give me no lines and keep keep your hands to yourself.
You're listening to Tony Bruno, unfiltered, uncensored, unintelligible.
I know him.
Here is Tony Bruno.
Hello, everybody. It is a thirsty throwback Thursday edition of the Tony Bruno extravaganza in the air everywhere. What is that blurb sound here?
It's a blurb sound. Not sure, but continue on, Tony.
Thank you, Miss Robin. It's Thursday. It's windy. It's chilly. It's almost winter. It's December 5th. That means we are, according to my... I want to play rough. I'll play rough. That's right. Please off a couple of rounds like they do every night here in Philadelphia. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of stuff to get to today, Miss Robin. You know what it is? It's Thursday. That means Thursday Night Football. And you know what that means also? Do you realize that tonight is the next to last Thursday Night Football game of the year?
What?
Yes.
How is that possible?
Well, I looked at the schedule. Tonight and then next Thursday, December 12th, will be the last actual regularly scheduled Thursday night football game. And Mr. Thursday Night will be out and about later on. We're doing the doubleheader today.
Yeah, this one might have to be even shorter because we have a double.
No, Robin, I still have to do my picks and stuff.
I know you're going to
I'm not rushing my ass to get up to King of Prussia.
No, we have a meeting up there. So.
I have no meeting.
Well, I do. I don't know how we're going to do that then.
Stop making meetings and then not including me and then telling me at the last second I got to be at a meeting. I hate meetings.
You've been part of this phone chain. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
D. Conrad, thank you so much.
Where'd you find that? Speaking of that, we got so much stuff today. There's no way we're going to be able to shoehorn this in 2 hours, Robin.
Yeah, I know. Or
we
less.
got Thursday night football. No, we're not doing less than 2 hours. Why even do a show then? I bust my ass. This is what I've been doing upstairs. While you were sleeping, Robin, I was doing this. Okay? I'm not going to do all this work from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., 4 hours to prepare for a 2-hour show, and then not do a 2-hour show.
The Godfather has spoken.
You think I just drop out of bed and stumble in front of a damn microphone and start talking? There's copious notes, copious
but Tony,
amounts of preparation.
You make it look so easy.
Jesus. It's not chicken scratch. It's pretty good right there.
And I want to remind people.
That's cursive, too.
Yeah. I want to remind people.
Actually, no. Most of it's printed. Go ahead. Sorry.
I want to remind people that are just joining on other platforms other than Twitch. Please make the switch to Twitch. It's free. It's super, super easy. And it's awesome because that is the only. See how much people love it?
Yeah, I love it, too.
God.
Yeah, baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
They love it so much it affects them like that. Okay. Well, I know. And you want what she's having. So make the switch to Twitch so that you can join the conversation. You can join the Bruno Familia. It's free. There's conversations within conversations that are happening on the chat room. And you could, if you are on another platform, especially if you're on Instagram, you're not getting the full effect with all the different camera angles and the videos.
POV,
and
special
all that
effects,
stuff.
all the other important. Like people put stuff on my face. What is it? Somebody's pouring a water can on my head right now, and now there's something growing out of my hat.
Oh, they're raking. Oh, they're look. It's like a gardening. They're gardening.
So they're gardening on my bald head, which is covered today, but it's a good planting surface.
Yes.
So what they've done is they've raked my head a little bit, spread some soil on there, and then they put some seeds, and then they water it, and then all of a sudden, boom, plants come up.
You know what?
I should be renting my head for planting purposes, growing some weed.
Well, no, you need to actually have something there to plant stuff in. Like I would have a full garden. But Swedish Chef just said something very interesting.
About my show notes?
You know what? I bet you a lot of people would love that as an autograph. Like autograph your show notes.
I could
and
sell
send them
these
out.
like every day.
No, but
printed
not...
copies of today's show on Thursday, December 5th will be available at the Merkel Press.
No, not
Chicago 60609.
Not as but as a nice giveaway. As autograph them, send them, have them with a nice shiny photograph of
People
yourself.
love shiny objects,
I
Robin.
know.
Just look at Washington, D.C. It's all about shiny objects. How does my garden grow? Lots of flotsam and jetsam in there. And you can send 10 cents in coin, or you could subscribe. That's the best way to support this show. Because I have a feeling.
Bits are actually even better.
Bits are tips. We call them bits, so it doesn't sound like we're begging you for money. And as I've been telling you, stop sending money to politicians who are going to piss it away and you get no results from it. You get results from the show.
Exactly.
It's really the only quid pro quo that matters.
It's
because it is a quid pro quo. We provide a service. You thank us by tipping us and subscribing to the show. That's how it works.
Show your love. And it's
Show your love. Show your love.
It's also like having somebody that you can talk to every day. It's like we're like your best friend.
Exactly.
We give you information. We give you advice.
We tell you to go to hell. You rip us. We
and
rip
you
back.
can rip us. It's like it's unconditional love because
Yes, it is.
you can rip us, you can get angry at us, and we will still love you.
Exactly. You can call us names as long as they're not profane, as long as it's not insane, as long as it's just good back and forth. We got the fireplace roaring right now.
As Falcon keeps it, the fireplace is not on, Robin. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It's blazing right now. It's blazing. You can send Bitcoin. You can send bullion. You can send Canadian nickels, Canadian dimes, Canadian club. Whatever you want to send us from any country. You can send us Deutschmarks. You can send us euros. You can send us Euro trash.
Speaking of Deutschmark,
yes,
you received some yesterday. It was very exciting.
Yes, I did.
I don't
you
know
posted
if
it. I don't have it. We should have brought it down.
I should have
here.
brought it downstairs. But it's one of your royalty statements from SAG-AFTRA that shows how much money you made off of the one movie that you were in, which was "Don't Say a Word" with
Michael Douglas
and the woman that died.
I always forget her name. Too.
Yeah, I can't think of her name.
Each other
Anyway,
we're not.
No. Every now and then
We can send Confederate dollars too.
Yeah, and you were big in Germany.
Yes, because the movie. Now, when I say it was in the movie, the thing about when you're in California and you do a movie part, I wasn't in the film. They actually, and you see this a lot in movies. They'll get somebody doing a radio. Like, for example, all the M. Night Shyamalan movies here in Philadelphia, which are filmed in this area. Yuki Washington, the great former sportscaster, now news anchor at
awesome man.
At Hall of Fame guy here in Pennsylvania broadcasting. He is in every single M. Night movie. They're friends. And so when you see the TV anchor or you hear the TV anchor's voice in the background, no matter what the M. Night movie was, Yuki Washington, local sports anchor, television, morning show, he's now doing the nighttime news, one of the nicest human beings you will ever meet. He's in all of them. And so when I was in L.A. doing, national morning radio, there's a lot of producers out there, and this was a Fox film, and I was working for Fox, 20th Century Fox. And so they said, hey, who do we have that can do like a fake radio show in the background in one of these scenes of this upcoming movie we're doing, Don't Say a Word. And so they called me. They said, hey, would you be willing to do like a little fake radio bit? We're going to play it in the background of one of the scenes of this movie. So I wasn't in the movie. I wasn't a star of the movie. I don't even think I'm in the credits. Am I in the credits?
I think you're on IMDb. I don't know if you're
I don't know. Again, I'm not an act. I'm not a celebrity. But the funny thing about that part of the world, which is why there's so many people who do stuff, and they're getting checks every week. The Friends people, they get hundreds of thousands of dollars every week because they had the show Friends, which is still making billions of dollars in
Brittany
syndication.
Murphy, that's
the late Brittany Murphy. So it was a pretty interesting movie, and it was based around Thanksgiving Day Parade, if you haven't seen it. Rent it, and then I'll get another nickel. So what's interesting? So I get these checks every year, and it comes, and they tax me on it too. So I'll get a check for $18 because the movie ran in Germany.
That's actually high.
Yeah, so because they counted all the European money coming in, all the European models. So I get the actual foreign thing. I should bring it down, and it shows that the movie ran like 10 times in Germany and then in Spain a couple of times.
Yeah, but you didn't get as much money from Spain
from the
as
Spaniards.
You did.
No, because they're worried about climate change over there. And they're saving up their money to save the planet. And God bless them. You can take my nickel and save the planet.
I think you got like $16 from Germany, and the other $2 came from everywhere else.
So then when they show you the American breakdown, and this is what's great about being in a union, SAG, the Screen Actors Guild /AFTRA, which have combined their talents, is that you're in a movie and you're in the union, you get residuals every year. So we were joking. Robin posted it yesterday, and it was like the total, and because you get a separate copy from whatever foreign country shows the movie on TV. But when you get the American breakdown every year, and they do it a couple times a year, so I usually get like $38 or $40 at the end of the year, and then I get taxed on it in California and in Pennsylvania. So the $38 that I make in residuals, basically I have to then do another separate tax return for California taxes because of this. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is an absolute outrage.
It's an outrage.
Damn right it is, Mr. President.
I never saw the entire movie, but
You never saw it?
everybody's seen the trailers, and the one line, like every time I hear "Don't say a word," I hear in my head Brittany Murphy saying, "I'll never tell."
Exactly. Not that creepy.
She is. She does say it that creepy.
It's a little creepy. Now, again, I wasn't on the set. The movie was filmed all over the place. I just sat in the studio where I did my show, and I did a fake radio show. And what's interesting is that the football, the Thanksgiving Day game, they wanted me to talk about in the background because they know I hate the Cowboys and would rip them. So I did a fake radio show in the background, and it was the Cowboys. And so some New York guy, calls me and asks me about, and it was one of my producers who phoned in as a fake phone call. Hey, Tony, what do you think of this Cowboy game today? And, of course, I start ripping the Cowboys. But it's interesting when you watch the movie and the scene where they were supposed to be playing in the background in the morgue while they're doing an autopsy, you can't even hear it. You can barely hear it. So I went to the premiere. I'm sitting there. I'm waiting for the scene. I'm waiting to hear myself boom over the... They had it so low in the background, but the fact that they still used it, I get paid every year, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, and so what did I do yesterday when we got these 2 checks? I took my little boy Luigi out to dinner and spent $250 on calamari and wine and chicken and stuff. So now I'm down basically $220 from what I got yesterday. I could have taken him to go steak him up and got himself a steak. For $18, what can you get now, Robin? What do you get for $18?
A good cheesesteak and some onion rings.
Speaking of that, did you see it? We got to get to the breaking news before we get back to football, Thursday Night Football. So one of the first stories I see this morning is a guy in Tennessee who is going to be put to death today.
Yes.
He was on death row for not only killing a woman, but then setting her on fire.
Yeah.
So he was sentenced to death. And in some places, they still put people to death. Now, I'm not all death penalty all the time. I believe if you're a mass murderer and you've killed a lot of people, you should be put to death. But we're getting rid of the death penalty so we can keep filling up jails and convicting people to death sentences and then never putting them to death. Then why call it a death sentence? Do what they do here in Philadelphia with the DA, Larry Krasner. Give him life in prison and then let him out on parole in 18 months.
Well, this particular man...
what's this guy's name now?
His name is, or
Lee
was,
Hall.
Lee Hall.
Lee Hall, ladies and gentlemen, was ready to be put to death on death row in Tennessee. And they asked him, what do you want for your last meal? Because I think they use the electric chair down there, right? I don't think they use lethal injection.
Let's see.
Can you scroll up? I think in Tennessee, they make them watch University of Tennessee football games, and that's punishment enough for some people.
Well, but the important story or the important part of this story is what he asked for his last meal. I mean, that's a big deal, right?
Exactly. And the guy's not even from Philly.
No, he's not from Philly.
And you know what he asked for his last meal? He asked for a Philly cheesesteak before he was put to death this morning.
Philly cheesesteak, 2 orders of onion rings.
2 orders of onion rings.
A slice of cheesecake.
And a Pepsi. No Coke.
And a Pepsi.
Pepsi as part of his last meal.
And it was the electric chair.
Wonder what that feels like after you've had a nice cheesesteak. What it doesn't say in there, because, I'm a stickler for journalism, it doesn't say whether it was with or without, whether he wanted whiz or provolone. It doesn't have any of the details. That's a bad job of journalism, but it is the New York Post.
He deserved the electric chair if he asked for whiz.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just wrong.
You're absolutely right. You asked for whiz, they should put a couple extra volts in there. They should crank it all the way up to 11 on the electric chair. He looks like a nice fella, too.
Oh, yeah. Now, I mean, actually, he just looks like the normal people on Twitter that are really, really angry.
Exactly.
To tell you the truth. Which is kind
Again,
of scary.
I'm not
because
laughing at someone's death.
No.
The guy was sentenced to death.
I'm
And the
sorry.
interesting
You know
thing,
what? I actually am. I think this is. There's no doubt that
the way he murdered
deserved it, yeah.
it's, by the way, this isn't one of those. It could be a possible innocent person who was put to death.
No.
This guy was not innocent. The evidence was overwhelming, and this guy, I find it ironic that in Tennessee, of all places, he wouldn't ask for some moonshine or some barbecue. He asked for a Philly cheesesteak.
Maybe he thought it would be more difficult to get.
And
over
what's
there.
interesting to note here, Robin, that there's a stipend. You know how some people get per diem when they work? Do you know that they allow $20 to death row inmates? That's what they are saying. Here's $20. What do you want with the $20?
Oh, that's for their last meal?
Their last meal is actually a $20 stipend.
So you can't get the filet mignon and lobster anymore like they used to. I mean, I remember hearing those stories all the time, that a lot of inmates that were on death row, they would ask for the fanciest thing possible.
And the way this guy killed this woman.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. He was convicted of back in 1991, killing his ex-girlfriend, Tracy Cozier, and then after killing her, throwing gasoline.
No, he didn't kill her. He didn't kill her first. He threw gasoline while she sat in the front seat of her car, and he lit her on fire.
Okay.
And so she didn't die. She didn't kill her and burn her.
Oh,
he burned her alive.
And she was badly, badly burned, and then she died more than a day later without ever losing consciousness.
So here's a woman that's severely burned by this dirt bag, and he leaves her, and she feels the pain for over a day before she dies.
Yeah, and they were trying to say that because he was blind, that his disability deserved to have his sentence commuted.
Why?
He's
not going to see anything, and he's not going to feel anything.
Well, Lee Hall is blind and vulnerable, his attorney said.
Of course.
Screw that.
He's also a convicted murderer. I don't care if he's blind, deaf, dumb. I don't care what it is. This guy got what he got coming to him. And then he got a Philly cheesesteak. And why 2 orders of onion rings, though?
He wanted to make sure he got his
That's
full
a pretty
$20
good deal,
worth.
though. You get a cheesesteak. Cheesesteaks are now like $10, right?
Yeah.
Even at the junkie places.
And onion rings, and then a cheesecake.
Slice of cheesecake's like $6, depending on where you get it.
I'm thinking that's at least a $30 to $40 meal right there, depending on where you go.
I mean, $20. Cheesecake is awesome, though. See, I would think if we all knew what our last meal was going to be, I wouldn't order a cheesesteak, 2 orders of onion rings, a piece of cheesecake, and a Pepsi.
Well, that's my point, though, is that $20, that's really changed how people make their decision then.
Hey, the guy at least thought about it. I wonder if they give you a menu of the options, or do they send out? Do they get the Uber Eats to bring the food to the?
Can you imagine? Hey, Eric, our good
Eric Cohen. Hey,
Eric.
I got a quick. Can you make a quick trip to Tennessee? Go by Pat's or Geno's. I think they asked him Pat's or Geno's.
No. Eric, have you ever had to go by the jail and drop something off?
We don't execute people in Pennsylvania, Robin.
When's the last time somebody was executed?
We just toss people. We just torture people in the city and have them shot every night. But anyway.
What would you have for your last meal?
I don't know. It's got to be pasta. It's got to be Italian.
Yeah.
Lasagna.
A little boar.
Calamari
ragu.
first. It would have to be calamari.
Okay.
Fried calamari. I don't want any of that boiled stuff.
And not for the table, because it's a table
it's all
for
me.
one.
I want my own personalized, nice,
table for one.
Table for one for Mr. Bruno, please. I'd like the calamari, not for the table. The calamari just for me, because I can eat a whole order of calamari, as you know, Robin. You've seen that happen many, many times. It's got to have good marinara sauce. No, none of that other crappy stuff. A good marinara for calamari.
Okay.
Then, second course, I want a nice Caesar salad.
Okay. Draw it out. You're going to draw this last
supper out. You got to have a
salad.
And no, just a little bit of croutons. Don't put too many damn croutons in the Caesar. I want fresh alish in there. I don't want too much. I want a fresh Caesar salad. I don't want a bag thing where they cut it open and there's botulism. I don't want to die of botulism. If you're going to give me lettuce, make sure it's freshly cleaned before.
Okay.
I want to die clean. And then I want you to make it tableside. So I want you to get the big wooden bowl out, break the egg in there, put a little bit of anchovy paste in there and slap it around, you know what I mean?
Del Frisco. Say that you want
I want a Del Frisco's Caesar salad.
They make good
tableside.
Can you imagine being that waiter and getting that assignment? Hey, we want you.
Calamari is like $15. What are you going to spend with the other $5?
I know. That really puts a cramp on those
really
last
does.
meals.
And cheesesteaks are $10. Onion rings are like $2.50, $3, right? A Pepsi, depending on where you get it. At least he didn't die in Philadelphia. He would be way over $20.
Oh, just with a Pepsi
Just
alone.
a Pepsi alone. Just a soda tax on that can of Pepsi would have put him at $4, $5. Good thing he went to a state where things are more affordable before they fry you in the electric chair. And again, deep-fried calamaris while we're talking about frying.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's the story. I see the story guy requests a cheesesteak.
Play action reel. And put a 20% tip on that for yourself.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Hey, by the way, I have an extra $2 bill in here. You take that. The guy who's going to throw the switch, let's take this home and tell your family tonight, hey, I threw the switch, bitch.
Cujo
and
knows.
I made the switch to Twitch.
Cujo knows calamari and White Claw.
No, that's one thing. Even as I was being
It's
executed.
your last meal. Screw that.
I will not. There's no way I'm putting White Claw in my body, even when I'm drunk and don't know I'm drinking it. Why would I do that as a request for my last meal?
I mean, you have to choose a nice bottle of Chianti with some
Fabra beans.
Hitman.
Put a 20% tip on there for yourself.
Hitman 1796. Jack in the Box would be my last meal. I wish there were Jack in the Box places on the East Coast. I know.
What's in the box?
Jack's in the box. Or if you're really angry and they're about to put you to death and you'd say,
What's in the fucking box?
Jack's in the box, baby. Jack.
Error operator is saying, Tony, the link from your Facebook to your Twitch is not working. I had to search for you manually. I need to check that out.
It is an absolute
It is
outrage.
an
What is
outrage.
going on out there, Robin? What is going on?
Let me work on that while you get the
Whip
next
this out.
subject.
So we got tonight, Robin. We've got, well, first of all, we're going to have pizza tonight from Tony at Angelo's next door to Screwballs up in
That
King of
makes me
Prussia.
happy.
Great pizza. Luigi's going to come up, he says. He's going to have some Abits tonight. Abits. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is? It is Thursday night football action, yo. Venerable Soldier Field in Chicago. Or some Nimrod radio talk show hosts who don't know anything about sports will tell you, or will call it Soldiers Field. It is Soldier Field in Chicago, eh? Mitch Trubisky. Look at him throw the ball. You know, Mitch Trubisky's last game, he was 29 of 38, 338 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Will he dissect the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football? People all over this area and all over many cities in the National Football League will be gathered around the table, the bar, the calamari counter, the sushi bars, sports bars, screwballs, watching and rooting against the Dallas Cowboys. Because that's how they roll. Unless you're a Dallas Cowboy honk, and you'll be sitting there anxiously wondering whether or not your Cowboy team is going to choke away another game that they're supposed to win. Dallas is a 3-point favorite in Chicago tonight. And right now, much like the Eagles, there's a lot of doubt in this Dallas Cowboy team, even though they're healthy. They still have their quarterback. They got their running back. They got their wide receivers. They're missing their middle linebacker. But I don't think the loss of Vander, it's a big loss when you lose a young kid like that. He's got a neck stinger. He hasn't played in a while. But the Cowboys are still, on paper, better than the Chicago Bears. They're better than the Eagles. They're better than the teams they've been losing to. But the pressure's on the Cowboys tonight. Dallas has lost back-to-back games. They've lost 3 of their last 4. And now they're going into their 3rd game facing a really good defense. And the Bears' defense is still good. They're the number 4 scoring defense in the NFL. And what's interesting to note here, as Vin Scully would say if he were doing NFL games, which he did back in the day, in addition to being the Dodger announcer, he did golf on NBC. Vin Scully wasn't just the voice of the Dodgers. He was a legendary, still is, one of the all-time great broadcasters who was a network guy back in the day. The Bears are allowing 17.3 points per game average. What's interesting about that is last year, they were giving up an average of 17.7 points per game, and last year they won the division. This year at 6-6, they're allowing fewer points per game, but they've lost 6 games, proving that they had a harder schedule, and secondly, their offense stinks. They're scoring 10 points fewer than they did last year. So that's how you take into account. Their offense is not as good. Their defense is still good, and they find ways to lose games because their offense isn't very good, and they rely on the offense. But you know what? Maybe we'll see what happens tonight. A lot of people will be rooting for the Bears, especially Eagle fans and even Washington Redskin fans who feel that they're still in the hunt in the atrocious, abysmal NFC Eastern Division. So we'll have that. Mr. Monday Night will release the Thursday night pick later on tonight at Screwballs and King of Prussia.
Screwballs.
For the Eagles, Jordan Howard. This, to me, is another one of those, what the hell is going on there? What is going on with the Philadelphia Eagles medical staff? Jordan Howard was playing really well for this team. November 3rd, you remember that game? They were playing week 9, November 3rd. The Eagles were playing the Chicago Bears. Jordan Howard was having a good game. He gets knocked out. They call it a shoulder stinger. You know, stingers when you pinch a nerve, and it hurts. Now, 5 weeks later, week 14, today, as they get ready for practice, we're going to practice today because they're playing on a Monday night. Normally they start practice on Wednesday for the Sunday game, but the Eagles are playing Monday night. So practice today. Doug Peterson said Jordan Howard is still not cleared for contact. Now, I haven't been cleared for contact, but that hasn't stopped me, except I'm not running through, 390-pound defensive linemen. So 5 weeks after he got hurt, they still don't expect him to be ready to play on Monday Night Football. And if you don't think that's a big deal for this Eagles offense, it absolutely is. Since he's been hurt, the Eagles will have gone 0-3 without Jordan Howard. Now, Miles Sanders has done a good job, but they don't have anybody behind him. They brought in, what's-his-face? They ran the ball a couple of times with him. And he was running like he had a refrigerator on his back. Jay Ajayi. So with Jordan Howard, the Eagles were 5-4 and averaging 23 points per game. Since he's been injured, 0-3, averaging fewer than 17 points per game. And, by the way, they have not scored a rushing touchdown. So every touchdown the Eagles have scored since Jordan Howard went down has been a passing play. So they can't run the football into the end zone. That's huge. And they have the third fewest rushing attempts in the NFL since Jordan Howard left. So as much as they've been trying to get Jordan and Miles Sanders in there, the Eagles don't run the football anymore. And when you run the football, especially this time of year, and they did, remember, the Eagles had a couple of good drives where they ran 9 minutes off the clock. That's what you have to do now. If you're offensively challenged or you have injuries on your offense and your defense is supposed to be good, you get a lead, you pound the football, and you close out the games. The Eagles have shown that a couple of times this year, and the one drive a couple of weeks ago when they went down the field and took 9 minutes off the clock, that's how they have to win games while they don't rely on their mediocre wide receiving core or Zach Ertz, who's banged up. So now the Eagles are going to go into Monday Night Football against the New York Giants, and they're 9.5-point favorites. Interestingly, after we found out that Eli Manning's going to play instead of Danny Dimes on Monday night, the point spread went up. The Eagles were favored by 8.5. Now they're favored by 9.5 points. And you know what happens when somebody's favored that big. You saw it in Miami, favored by 10.5. Am I saying they're going to lose the game to the Giants? The Eagles own the Giants, especially with Eli Manning. That's why the point spread went up. But to me, the bottom line is this. The Eagles, once again, much like the Cowboys, will be the national focal point tonight of the entire NFL. It's the only game. It's Thursday Night Football. Everybody will be paying attention to what the Dallas Cowboys do with Zeke. Will he start pounding the football? Will he get 100 yards rushing? Actually, he only needs 10 yards to get to the 1,000-yard mark for Ezekiel Elliott. Dak Prescott's been playing well. And so something's got to give tonight. And Eagle fans now have been left to root against the Dallas Cowboys like they did on Thanksgiving Day and saw the Cowboys lose and get all excited and then see the Eagles shit the bed on Sunday against the Miami Dolphins, who played better and deserved to win. And now all of a sudden, everybody will be resorting to rooting against or for the Cowboys tonight, hoping that they somehow find a way to win this god-awful NFC East and make their way into the playoffs. And so while the Eagle fans will be rooting against the Cowboys tonight and rooting for the Bears and see what happens then, and then next Monday night the whole country will be rooting against the Eagles. And a lot of Giants and Jets fans will be rooting against not just the Eagles, but the Giants. I wonder if they'll have a tribute to Eli Manning on Monday night here at Lincoln Financial Field. Show like the highlights of all the Eli Manning faces. And Eli Manning's got 2 Super Bowls. And the guy, much maligned, he made 2 of the most unbelievable plays that were caught and beat the New England Patriots twice in 2 Super Bowls. So for that, I tip my hat, if I could take it off because I have headphones, to Eli Manning. But career-wise, he's a 500 quarterback, 115 wins, 115 losses. But the guy, 2 Super Bowls in New York. Nick Foles, they built statues here. Nick Foles won 1 Super Bowl, and they think this guy's going to come back and save them every year. After he goes down to Jacksonville, gets a nice paycheck, and now has been benched. But that's a different argument. Bottom line. How many bottom lines can you have in one story, Robin?
Well, you can always go lower, Tony.
Well, that's what I've been.
My
bottom line has been. I've been going to the bottom line for 6 weeks now, Robin. So anyway, we'll see what happens tonight, and we'll see what happens with the Eagles' running game, and the fact that Jordan Howard still may not be ready to run does not help this team, and the statistics don't lie. But I want to play a little quick video here.
Okay.
It's football related, of course, because we've been watching the New England Patriots. And one of the things you may have noticed is that the New England Patriots, their coaching tree, the Belichick coaching tree, is phenomenal. You saw Brian Flores stick it to the Eagles by running a trick play with their punter and kicker scoring a touchdown. That was to stick it in Doug Peterson's face because Brian Flores was on that Patriots staff when the Eagles ran the Philly special in the Super Bowl. And so every one of the Patriot coaches, all their salty fans were pissed off. And so now Brian Flores, any other assistant coach under Bill Belichick or even Bill Belichick himself, always try to find a way to stick it to the Eagles because of that Super Bowl win and the Philly special play. So you saw Belichick do it, running a wide receiver screen pass for a touchdown. And the Eagles got burned by Brian Flores running a fake punt using the place kicker to throw a touchdown pass to the punter to throw a touchdown pass to the place kicker. Brian Flores' way of saying, up yours, Doug Peterson, and then they won and beat the Eagles. But Steve Belichick, you may have been seeing him on the sidelines. You watch the games, they show this young man. Now, he looks like he's from Eastbound and Down. He's got the mullet going, which I didn't think was popular up in New England these days. But they finally got a chance to sit down or stand up and interview Steve Belichick, Bill Belichick's son, who's I believe he's the defensive backs coach right now. So he's bringing his son in. Son's been watching football forever.
Right.
But you have to watch and listen. I'm not mocking the kid. He obviously knows football. But I want you to watch.
Well, close your eyes.
Close your eyes. Well, you have to watch first.
Oh, okay.
You have to watch him. But as you're watching, just pay attention to his vocal intonations. It is absolutely scary how much he sounds exactly like his dad, Bill Belichick.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about how it correlates. It's just trying to do my thing, and I think that's what's best, so that's what we're trying to do.
Steve, Phil asked you about the chores. Do you have a memory of your first football chore or one of your first football chores that he asked you to do?
Yeah, I got a couple memories of those.
And you want to share?
Any good?
Yeah, those are between me and him, yeah.
What's the best way to build?
We laugh about them now.
When did you first start watching film? Like he started when he was in high school.
I've been watching it for a while. Like I said, football is my thing. I remember watching Primetime with Chris Berman back when I lived in Cleveland and just watching highlights, learning, going into my dad's office in Cleveland, spending time there, trying to watch film. Like I said, I don't think I knew what I was doing, but I was trying.
So other kids were watching cartoons, you were watching film?
I mean, yeah, I just wanted to spend time around football, spend time around my dad.
Thank you, Steve.
Figure I'll ask. Any shot you can tell us who's calling plays on the defense?
I got it wrong.
There you have it. At least he laughs. He's still young, and he's not as tainted as his dad. Steve Belichick, now people are posting pictures of different characters, Joe Dirt. But, when I see – listen, he's a good kid. But he's Sal. Is he not his dad?
Yeah,
Is he not his dad's
I think
son?
the everybody on that family, they just don't open their mouth very much. They just talk like.
And by the way, I've been around Bill Belichick many, many times. He is one of the nicest, friendliest folks. But when he gets on the football field, when he gets on that sideline, when he talks to reporters afterwards, he's strictly business. And so is his son, Steve. He's business in the front, poker in the front, business in the rear. And when I see him, the first thing I think of, Robin, is this particular song. And it goes a little something like this.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done? We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Time eastbound, just watch no bandit run.
Everybody now.
Keep your foot hard on the pedal. Son, never mind them brakes. Let it all hang out, cause we got a run to make.
I got to get my pick out here. I'm picking in the granite.
Thirsty in Atlanta, and there's beer in Texarkana, and we'll bring it back no matter what it takes. Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?
I got a long way to go
and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch old bandit run.
Now, actually, speaking of this song and Burt Reynolds, we have a Burt Reynolds
we have a
update.
Burt Reynolds update. He's dead, of course, but he lives on in infamy in many great, great movies. So we'll have a Burt Reynolds update on the show today.
Well, actually, why don't we do that now since it's a good
transition
segue.
right into it, yes. One of Burt Reynolds' great movies, of course, Cannonball Run. Remember Cannonball Run? I think they did a couple of them.
A couple.
Cannonball Run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I believe he transitioned to Creed 1, 2, and 3 with Stallone. They collaborated. But the Cannonball Run movies were fun. And Cannonball Run still happens. It's not legal. It's not sanctioned.
No.
It's not recognized. It's not in the Guinness Book of World Records. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there is a new Cannonball Run record that has occurred. 27 hours, 25 minutes driving across the USA, baby. USA.
Now, are we going to play the video?
Yeah, let's play the video because this is it. People love this stuff.
Hi, I'm Brock Yates Jr. My father invented the cannonball in 1971, and I was on the first one with him, Jim Williams, Steve Smith, where we set the record in 40 hours and 51 minutes. Later that same year, Brock and Dan Gurney reset the record. And now, after many other attempts, we have a new record. Congratulations to Doug and Arnie. Great job. Don't know how you did it. Good God, I don't know how you did it.
In 75, Jack May and Rick Klein improved the record to 35 hours, 53 minutes.
I'm David Yarborough. In 1979, Dave Hines and I set the record at 32 hours and 51 minutes in the fifth and final Cannonball Run. Congratulations, Doug and Arnie.
In 1983, David Deem and Doug Turner set the record. In 2006, Alex Roy and I broke that record. In 2007, we announced the news. Congratulations to Doug and Arnie. Well done, boys.
Hey, Doug and Arnie, congrats on setting the Cannonball record. That is an insane achievement, and I know how hard it is. Richard and I did it in 2007. Enjoy it.
I'm David Black, and in 2013, I set the Cannonball record with Ed Bolian and Dan Wong.
Congratulations, Arnie and Doug.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. The guys congratulating, slapping backs, kissing babies. Arnie Tolman and Doug Tabbitt.
Yeah.
Shit, I could do it in less than a day. Give me a break.
Right.
Did you see the average? Some of the highest speeds they drive on these things are going like 150 miles an hour for stretches to do it.
And the reason why it's so hard to do is that you can get stopped. Like, you're going all these high speeds. To be able to break the record, you have to go over the speed limit. And if you go over the speed limit, you're going to get caught by Smokey.
Yeah, but they're not going to arrest you. Again, I haven't seen the video of this, but you can see all these guys do it every year. They try to set the new record. But what about tolls? What about if they tried just to get through Pennsylvania with our wretched roads? They'd have a couple of blowouts. Don't drive through Philly if you're going to do the Cannonball Run. You'll have to bring like a separate truck just to put mufflers and tires and rims and all the other stuff that gets wrecked in this town. You'll have to duck gunfire. So you're going to have to buy one of those Tesla armed truck things. See, that doesn't bother me anymore.
I know. I'm
now used to the knock-knock.
I think we're finally used to that walk-up sound. Although it is still pretty funny.
I've driven to Florida by myself nonstop in like 15 hours from Philadelphia to Miami, Robin. Didn't stop, didn't sleep, doing Jolt Cola.
Did you have
down there.
Did you have one of those strap-on pee things so that you could?
No, I even stopped and pee. These guys stop and pee. They don't go non. You can't drive you can't drive across the country and go by all of those great truck stops, not at least talk to a lounge lizard while you're filling the car up.
But,
you know what I'm saying?
But what are those things called? That a lot of
Whizinators?
No, the Whizinator is to imitate
catheters.
Imitate peeing in so that you can use somebody else's pee. No, the thing is like you strap it to your leg for men. It's not for women. And then you put it. You hook it onto your penis somehow so that you can just pee right into the little thing strapped to your leg.
You got to bring the music. You got to bring. Wait a minute, Robin. You got to bring the music up again now because I have to play a little bit more of this. No, not Eli's coming. We play it.
Captain Russell Haas says the ones for women are called Go Girls.
You go,
and
girl.
And the captain, he says that the men's one is called Go Buddy. You go, buddy. You go, good buddy.
Hey, I admit the other night when we drove up to Montgomery County to go see my daughter,
I know, you were trying
I had to pull off to the side of the road where safely possible, pulled into somebody's driveway, but it was a house under construction.
Yes.
And I had to get out and drain the lizard.
And
that's what happens.
Luckily enough, there was a porta potty right there.
I didn't use the porta potty.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I was afraid. I was afraid of opening. It's dark. There's a porta potty in a driveway where a house is under construction. So I just barely turned in. I didn't like pull up to the house. And,
yeah.
You know, somebody could come out with a shotgun. So there's a porta potty.
I didn't even
realize
that.
wasn't. I was afraid to open the door.
What did you think you were going to find?
I don't know. It could be a body in there. You see people finding like heads in parks. You see this story? Somebody was running in a park, and they found a head on the side of the road.
Ooh, I did not.
I mean,
see
I've
that.
gotten head on the side of the road in many parks before, but I planned it.
Getting head and finding head are two totally different things. Yeah. One is good. One is not.
I did not want to open that porta potty. Remember, it was a private porta potty. I mean, it was a regular porta potty, but you know, the construction workers, because the house is under construction, There's no place to go to the bathroom. And it was a green light. There was the green arrow on it. You know how when you swipe it, it goes green to red? And it was green, so that means there was nobody in there. But how do you know there's nobody? How do you know there's not an axe murderer in there?
Or a raccoon.
Or a raccoon. Or a bear.
A rabbit.
Remember, there's all these bears running around in Delaware County.
Yeah.
No, there was a green door, too. I didn't want to go behind the green door. Robin, just a little bit more now. Let me get the banjo middle. Let me do this one more time.
Old Smokey's got them ears on. He's hot on your trail. He ain't gonna rest till you're in jail. So you got to dodge him, you got to duck him. You gotta keep that diesel trucking. Just put that hammer down and give it hell.
Hey!
He's pounding down, load it up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?
We got a long way to go, and it's short time to get there.
I'm eastbound up, watch on Bandit run.
Beervac does want to point out that bears shit in the woods, Tony,
Yes,
not
they
in
do.
porta potties.
How dare you?
That's what she said when she found out these guys were driving 150 miles an hour to try to make it from New York to California.
We will never forgive you.
Imagine how much gas they burn. Imagine how much carbon they put into the atmosphere. Imagine the damage they've done to the planet, Robin, just for a stupid record that is only acknowledged by the previous people who did this. What's the purpose? Where's the joy? Where's the joie de vivre?
The joy is being sucked out of us, Tony. Sucked.
Exactly right.
And not in a good way.
And, of course, now, the story that I went off on yesterday was Aquaman himself.
Oh, you were all over him.
Because
More so than me.
Well, I know a lot of guys would be all over him, too. Hey, that's whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? I would say, I'm not going to tolerate your crap today. So he saw his buddy, Chris Pratt, Guardian of the Galaxy, and acting in a lot of things. Jurassic
I'm
World.
telling you that this was a setup. This was regarding something specific, and it was a whole advertising ploy.
No, it wasn't. No, because Aquaman himself is definitely he's a guy who wants to save the Earth. He's out in the Pacific Islands. Everybody doesn't want junk in the ocean. Nobody throws bottles in the ocean. Do you throw bottles in the ocean, Robin?
Never.
I don't even throw bottle. When I see a bottle on the street I pick it up.
Yes.
So I'm doing my part to save the planet. So don't give me any of your bullshit about drinking water out of bottles. So anyway, he tweets to Chris Pratt, who had a picture of himself in the gym holding a bottle of water. And it wasn't like, I hate you, bro. It was like, hey, man, what are you doing drinking a water bottle? I'm Aquaman, blah, blah, blah. And then they went back and forth, and they were, they're friends. It wasn't like, what are you doing? Come at me, bro. Do you even lift? Any of that kind of crap. So they went back and forth, and then, they weren't ripping each other because they know each other. There's pictures of them together. So guess what happened now? Because a lot of people don't like Chris Pratt now because he's Christian and he's conservative, and so therefore he's the enemy. So anything he does now doesn't count because the deranged people who have to label people and say, oh, my God, how could we possibly like Chris Pratt anymore? Do you realize that he's a devout Christian and that he doesn't believe in all of this other lunacy that I'm supposed to believe in?
And he married Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
Exactly. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was banging his help back in the day and became governor of California. And so then there are people now defending Chris Pratt. I'm not defending either one. I don't give a damn what they do, but I find it interesting that, the people who are out there, because Chris Pratt had to apologize. That's the thing that gets me. He had to apologize for holding a water bottle in a gym. And then so what happens? People go around and guess what they're finding and posting today? Pictures of Aquaman drinking out of a water bottle. Are we going to go after him now? It's ridiculous. This water bottle thing is bullshit.
Tony, this is, I'm telling you, this was a PR stunt to bring attention
to water bottles?
To recycling or something. I mean, this was a whole setup.
I'll say it before. I said it before. I'll say it again. When I'm in a supermarket and I see water, 3 cases for $10.
Now you're buying even more.
I'm buying 6 cases. That's $20. And no sugar tax. You know how many bottles of water that is I can get for $20? There's 72 and 72. 144 bottles of water for $20.
I can see it now. I'll be gone all next week. When I come back,
the entire house is going to be stacked. It's going to be stacked. I look like a hoarder. I'm going to go out and buy every case of water around and then take pictures of it and live stream it to trigger all of these slap-dick lunatics. By the way, when you go to a race, when you're running in a marathon, what do they hand you? Now, they hand you plastic cups of water to help people.
Well, oftentimes they'll hand you the little paper cups. There's those little cone cups, and that way.
Yeah, but they also give you. And by the way, if you're not drinking water out of a bottle, if you go to a concert, what do they sell, Robin?
Water.
In bottle, plastic bottle. Remember before it was we can't sell glass bottles anymore because people will break them and somebody will get hurt or they'll throw them and hit somebody in the head. So they make plastic bottles so that there's no safety danger of anybody.
I think that we need to start switching over to that water in jelly balls. Have you seen those? What the heck? Trevor. Oh,
by the way, this isn't a replay.
Trevor from the 203, that's your walk-up sound?
Now, Brett Michaels, Metal God said, never mind, this is not a replay of yesterday's show. I just gave you an update that this is the way the world operates, that they go after Chris Pratt yesterday because he had to apologize, and then the people who don't who are defending Chris Pratt are posting pictures of Aquaman with water bottles. This is
just-
how idiotic this country and the world has become.
I think that, though, it would be great. You've seen those water, it's not a bottle, it's like a ball, a water ball, and it's a jelly filled with water, and then you bite into it, and you can drink the water, and then the jelly you can eat.
You know what? The only Magoo number 8 nails it, Robin. That's the great thing about our audience on Twitch, or wherever you're listening, on Instagram. They can they can cut through all the crap. There's no malarkey or bullshit here on this show.
We have very smart listeners.
So, what's going on right now in Washington, Robin? That's the big story.
The whole impeachment.
Impeachment,
crap. Yeah,
right?
Impeachment.
Now, Bill Clinton was impeached. Richard Nixon was impeached. And so now,
Were they the only two presidents? There has to have been more than
I
that.
don't go. I was alive during those 2 impeachment hearings. I was actually a news person. Anyway, the point is impeachment. So what are you hearing a lot of these days about this whole impeachment thing? This is worse than what, Robin? This is worse
this
than
is
what?
worse than Watergate.
So Watergate, and now you have water bottles being thrown out all over the world, and you have Aquaman and Guardians of the Galaxy superhero types in a Watergate debate. Coincidence? Is this not an attempt by the water bottling companies of the world, the Pepsis and the Cokes who have bought Dasani and all these? I mean, all these places are owned by soda companies,
right?
Because they were smart enough to realize that people are buying water. And they're going to buy soda when they go to a vending machine. I've said the story many times. You go to a vending machine, you're thirsty, and it's $1.50, depending on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you have choices. You can buy a bottle of water for $1.50 or a 16-ounce bottle of soda for $1.50. What's the average person going to hit when they think about, let's see.
What do I get value for my money?
Yeah, what do I get for $1.50? And they think, and they're right, the water bottle, the contents of the water bottle can't be more than a penny, right? Now, the contents of the soda aren't that much more, but there's still a bigger process in making soda and putting it in a bottle.
Yeah.
Like, put it in a bottle the same way. So you're thinking, I'm not going to pay $1.50 for a bottle of water when I can get that Mountain Dew cranberry for the same price.
This is how I look at it. Same view, right? Sodas, water, or here in Philadelphia where it's water. I look, do I pay $1.50 to poison my body, or do I pay $1.50 to hydrate my body?
It's all about hydration. It's a hydration sensation station across the nation.
I have an impeachment update.
We have an impeachment. What happened today? Did Nancy
No.
Pelosi just flip out again?
I just looked it up, though. The House has impeached because it's not
I know
just the president.
the House is the only
Right.
place that can start impeachment proceedings, Robin.
The impeachment process is not just for presidents. You can impeach
Exactly.
pretty much anybody that's been elected. So the
We
House
can't impeach Jim Kenney, though,
No.
unfortunately.
The House has impeached 19 federal officers. Of these, 15 were federal judges, 13 district court judges, 1 Court of Appeals judge who also sat on the Commerce Court, and 1 Supreme Court Associate Justices. 2 were presidents, Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton.
Right.
Both were later acquitted by the Senate.
Exactly, and that's what's going to happen to Trump next year. But they got to get this done through. Again, I'm not getting into the political bullshit that's going on, but the Watergate thing is funny because everybody's complaining about water bottles now the last 2 days. I mentioned the same people that during the summer were all wanting to get viral by putting a water bottle on a table and then finding a way to take the bottle cap off with different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Zorro came out and got his whip. People were doing all kinds of crazy shit. They were lifting their feet up and spinning around and knocking the water bottle. Now, all of a sudden, the same people who are doing that, wanting to make themselves viral on the internet, are now going crazy about water bottles. I'm waiting for water bottle protesters to show up at Acme and Pathmark and Superfresh. Well, they're out of business. And ShopRite and Giant and Wegmans. I can't wait for a gigantic waterfall avalanche of anti-bottle people.
Crock of shit.
It is a crock of shit. You're right about that. And by the way, I was on the air during the Nixon, and I'll have tapes. I'm going to find the tapes of me on the radio doing reporting on the Nixon impeachment during Watergate. I was also on the air during the Bill Clinton impeachment.
Yeah, we need to find somebody that can
I have
dub
the
all
tapes.
those.
They're on cassettes.
We have somebody on the line who has a cannonball run idea.
Idea or update?
Idea, I think.
Let's go to the update, then Cannonball Run update desk. Who do we have on the line?
It's Trevor from the 203. How we doing, Tony?
We're good, man. You don't even have a car. You're the one bitching about I can't find a car. How are you going to do a cannonball run? You can't rent it. Although you can rent. How about this? You rent a car, and then you do it in a rental car. Because you know what the old saying is, right?
Honda Pilot. How about that?
Honda, no. You rent a car, rent a sports car. It's going to be a little more expensive, but then you get some funding. You start a GoFundMe for your, and then you get yourself like a Testarossa or a Lamborghini. It's going to be expensive, but you only need it for a couple of days because you're going to drive the shit out of that thing. Because you know the old saying is, Trevor, the old saying is, what's the difference? The question is, what's the difference between a monster truck and a rental car? You know what the difference is, Robin?
I do.
There are just some places you will not take a monster truck. All right, so you take a rental car, you get the insurance, you get the fastest car you can rent. You're not going to go in there and upgrade from a midsize to a premium car. You got to get the fastest some bitch they rent, and preferably a convertible. You got to have the top come down when you're in the middle of the country and you want to feel the air breezing through your hair. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Or your bald head. So what is your idea now?
We do myself, Dean, you, and Luigi, and we do a podcast across the country and document the trip like that.
Oh man, it would be like the Tour de France, except it wouldn't last 2 insufferable weeks with the peloton and worrying about wearing a yellow jacket, yellow sweater, and worrying about whether or not our balls have been cut off because we've been injecting ourselves like that piece of garbage Lance Armstrong did for so many years and conned us all into liking him.
See, here's the problem with a Cannonball Run for me, is because I have not been to a lot of these places along the way.
Yeah.
I'd want to stop. I'm like, wait, no, I want to stop.
No, you just get your camera out and you roll it live.
We do it in a Civic Type R, which is a sporty hot hatch, and we'll be good to go. It can fit 3 people in the back.
Exactly. Now, and you got to have GoPro cameras all over everything. All these movies now.
We do a GoPro camera on the roof like NASCAR style.
No, you got to have like 20 GoPros because you put the GoPros inside on the windows that are facing the people inside, and then you have them outside on the side fenders where you can get the road blowing by.
Why don't you just have the Google camera?
We'd have to rip that off one of those Google cars, and that'd be a crime. But you could just have like 10 GoPros attached to this car, and then a satellite dish on top of it, on top of that. And so you can broadcast and stream it live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Absolutely.
When do we start this, though? We got to take into account time of year, weather. I don't want to be driving through snow and shit. I'm not driving through Minnesota this time of the year. I'm not driving through the heartlands.
We do it in April. How about that?
Let's write it down. April. You got to work on this, Robin.
April 20th.
Except I don't know if I could drive with Dean or Luigi. I would not be able to watch if I were in the Cannonball Run with those 2 guys driving.
That's true.
They do that now anyway.
I know.
They drive like they're in the Cannonball Run every single day on every single street.
We would die.
Put us in a Civic Type R. We will have a blast driving a hot hatch across the country and doing a podcast. Get a red one with black rims, and we'll be good to go.
Beautiful.
And it's a stick, too, so we can have some fun with it.
Well, the good thing about a stick is that you don't have to worry about it being stolen because nowadays so many people do not know how to drive a stick. It's theft prevention.
Now, Dean, say, don't rent a convertible because it takes away from gas mileage. We don't care about gas mileage. We're going to have this trip funded. We're going to find some mega donor. We'll get George Soros.
Jeff Bezos to do it.
Jeff Bezos from Amazon. We'll put Amazon stickers on the side of the car. Or we'll put Red Bull on the side because they're in everything. You know, they have all these extreme sports. You ever notice guys jumping out of planes? Everything's Red Bull. Brilliant marketing.
Yeah, Red Bull's also on the seat covers for the Clipper games back in the day.
Yeah, but now anything you see, any extreme sport, people jumping out of planes, people diving off of cliffs, they're all the Red Bull teams. People like walking on wings of airplanes doing stunt tricks. It's all Red Bull stuff.
Those are cool, though.
Yeah, I love that shit, man.
There's a thing called the Gumball Rally. They usually start in like one country and goes to another country. It's actually pretty cool. Like Johnny Knoxville and a few of like the Jackass crew did it, and other people. They documented it on MTV. It was hilarious.
Do they drive across the ocean like Greta Thunberg is doing now? How do they get across the water?
What they did it The one they did, it was from London to Moscow, and Moscow and back.
Wow. Well, and then the London, they just take either the channel or they take the ferry across.
And who's going to be the Dom DeLuise character in this movie, though, Robin?
Well, if you keep eating these stroopwafels, it's going to be you.
But think about it. This would be great Twitch TV content.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we could have the whole world watching. It would be like we'd live stream the whole trip. You want to talk about boffo box office. Imagine the millions and millions of people sitting around their TV sets, their personal electronic devices, their phones, their airplanes, everywhere. It'll be in space. The International Space Station will have it live. It'll be C-SPAN will have it. The House impeachment inquiry will stop what they're doing and watch it and broadcast it live. And they'll bring in a couple of college professors, whacked-out college professors who are angry, bitter, ridiculously stupid people will even stop what they're doing and watch this.
Maybe Dan Silio will join us.
Absolutely. Sills will be down there.
Oh, he
we'll
would
have
love
it in all the department stores. We'll put TV sets in the windows, and you'll see people standing in front of the windows watching on black and white TVs, Robin, like back in the day. Remember, you've seen those scenes, right, where something was going, like when we landed on the moon in 1969. There were windows.
The American Le Mans in the 60s.
Yeah, there were stores that had TV sets in the windows. Appliance stores used to have TV sets in the windows with the latest new console. With the color TV, a lot of black and white if you want that. We should do that. Have every storefront have a TV in it so people can stand in front watching it, wearing fedoras and three-piece suits, and the women will be elegantly dressed with long, flowing clothing and really high spiked heels. What do you think, Robin?
I like it. I like it a lot.
See how this plan's coming together?
Absolutely. I know Dean will be down. He needs something to do.
Oh, he's totally down on it. All
Dean
right.
I think Luigi will be down too. All right. I have a wedding this weekend. If I don't hear you tomorrow, enjoy you guys' weekend. Let's go Eagles.
All right, man. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. A man who has a plan. And we love when a plan comes together, Robin. This is like live, what do we call it? It's like a...
Live producing?
No. When a plan comes together, you have the PowerPoint presentation without these stupid, annoying slideshows, without somebody standing in the front of the room and hitting the clicker to go to the next slide. This is like PowerPoint presentation and brainstorming live on the air. You're not getting this anywhere else. Most of this shit's done behind closed doors where people can't hear what you're doing. Not on this show. You know what I'm saying? Think boxing is right. It's like the think tank. You follow me, Robin?
I am following you always. Sometimes I'm leading you, but I'm still following you.
I do have an NBA update today now. I've told you I'm not going to cover the NBA. I'm just going to pretty much use it to ridicule it. And unfortunately, the NBA has been doing things every single night that gives me fodder to point out the absurdities. Nobody cares about the scores. What they care about is the absurdity that is going on in the association.
Well, I think that one video is going around all the LeBron thing.
Oh.
It's going around everywhere.
Again, I'm not going to rip LeBron. Well, actually, I am.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, well.
But here's the worst part about LeBron. I'm going to get to this. Robin, you're giving away the story before I even I'm teasing it.
All right.
This is an NBA is a joke in South Central and pretty much everywhere else. LeBron, what do you say?
We were not going to do this.
All right, we've already exposed the whole Taco Tuesday fraud that was LeBron. He found out they don't do tacos in China, so he said, enough about that. I can't make $1 billion. So last night, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to NBA Farce Night. Wednesday night. It's not just for Prince Spaghetti anymore. It's for NBA stupidity and defense of NBA stupidity by the lapdog media in the tank for the NBA.
It's so clear.
I mean, listen. LeBron didn't commit a crime, okay? He didn't commit a crime.
And every player tries to get away with things.
Not this blatant. I don't think he was attempting to do it. He made a mistake.
Yeah. And
all players make mistakes. But the reason, it's not about him making the mistake. It's what happens afterwards and how people deal with this. Let's go to your NBA. And I'll use the real NBA theme when the NBA was real and not just a smoking. Somewhere John Tesh is flipping his head and getting that beautiful blonde hair behind as he cranks up Round Ball Rock live at Red Rocks in the middle of the desert with a full orchestra, Robin. Everybody knows he traveled. Everybody knows Dak didn't catch it. Dez didn't catch it. But this isn't about LeBron walking. Wait, I got to crack this up. Let me conduct the John Tesh Orchestra. John Tesh, by the way, in the Radio Hall of Fame.
Because of this or just because of
No, his entire career.
Right. Now, Tony, did you want me to play the video of LeBron?
Yeah, but let me set it up with the
Okay.
Round Ball Rock song. This is the greatest, not just NBA theme song of all time, the greatest sports theme. And there's so many great ones.
Yeah.
But if I was going to do a Mount Rushmore of sports themes, this has to be in it.
I mean, I believe John Tesh should be the only one to ever compose sports theme songs because of this.
No, but there's people who compose a lot of sports.
And
this was a masterpiece.
And my favorite video of
Is him playing it live.
is him playing
at a
it
concert.
at
yes.
a concert. I believe it was.
It was at
in
Red
Catalina.
Rocks. No, it was
it was
at
in
He
Catalina.
does it everywhere.
But he talks about how he came up with this, and he left a message on his voicemail for himself with the idea, and then he starts playing what he thought up. It's fantastic. You have to look it up.
But anyway, enough about John Tesh. I'm not in the Radio Hall of Fame, and that is a national outrage. So anyway, last night. Oh, there we go. Oh, man. This is the long extended disco
Yes, it
remix.
is.
This is the 12-inch version, Robin. Speaking of 12-inch, let's get back to the NBA. So last night, the Lakers are playing at Utah. You can tell because there's a gigantic Utah over the middle of the court. And LeBron's bringing the ball up. This is in the first quarter of play. And LeBron James walking the ball up.
Yeah,
And
let me know when I should start.
roll the tape now.
Roll the
Again,
tape.
I'm not repping LeBron because he walked. But watch what he does. So here he stops the dribble right here at the H. And then he takes a couple of steps and he starts dribbling again. Now, if you're watching your 8-year-old kids on a Saturday morning playing basketball, this happens all the time. If you're watching one of the greatest players of all time do it, and it's not that he walked. He admitted afterwards. It's that they didn't call this a foul. Meanwhile, the Utah Jazz players are all throwing their hands in the air and saying, what the hell is going on out there? Stephen A. Smith.
Come on.
Stephen A. Smith, when he's signing his $8 million a year contract, was watching this and said,
What the hell was that?
it's a walk. So the best part is, LeBron walks. They smoke the Utah Jazz. And then LeBron, to add insult to injury, he's talking to fans. And, LeBron's not a bad human being. I'm not discrediting him as a human. I don't care what he does. But he's a basketball player. And if he's going to have his ass licked by NBA honks who rely on their existence because of their podcasts and their connections with the league, I understand it. You need him to make your money. You're going to do whatever he says. You're going to listen to him. You're going to praise him. You're going to throw rose petals in front of his feet as he walks into your gymnasium. God bless him. It's a beautiful thing. So during the game, he then decides to take his sneakers off, sign them, and giving them to a little kid in Utah. I don't have a problem with that.
That's awesome.
But here's the problem I have with it. He gave the kids his sneakers, and then he proceeded to go back on the floor and play with no shoes. He played in stocking feet. And nobody did anything. Now, if I'm Donovan Mitchell, I'm going over there and stomping on his toes.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's back up for a second. So
I'm not making this up. It's on. Everybody sees the video of the walk by LeBron James. And he said afterwards, you know what? It's one of the dumbest. It was a brain fart. It's one of the dumbest things I've done. I can't believe I did it. Again, I'm not critical. People do this stuff. A lot of players walk, and they never get called. But you'll never see a more blatant walk because the floor was pretty much empty. He was the only guy walking up the floor, dribbling the ball up past midcourt, and then he stops at the H. And again, is this a crime? Is this an impeachable offense? Well, only if Trump did this, they would want to impeach him for this, too. This would be added to the articles of impeachment.
But I have a question. So, there's two questions for me. One, I mean, it's stupid because you're leaving yourself open to getting really hurt. And that's just stupid.
And first of all, I think that I can't believe the referees didn't blow the whistle.
Right. So the second thing is there a regulation? Are there uniform regulations
of course
that
there
require
are.
You to have, all these different things on, including your shoes?
Now, remember, they're up 25. This game was a rout. And he gives his shoes to a kid, which, China sends him probably 1 million pairs a week. He probably has a shipment coming in every day. And so, that's to promote the brand, which I have no problem with. Now, was he on the – I know he ran out onto the floor, at the end on the baseline, but did he actually play with bare feet?
I don't know. I mean –
I thought I saw a clip of him actually on the floor, back on the floor, after he gave the shoes away, wearing no shoes. And I don't want to falsely accuse him if it didn't happen. But we know there's the shot of him. We're showing the replay, and he's going crazy, he's waving a towel.
But he's not playing.
He's not. No, but I thought he was actually in because he came out of the game. Because it was a blowout. And so, of course, LeBron, lapdog media guys are now saying, LeBron's isn't it nice how he handles the media? He handles the media. He did. He addressed it. He said, hey, you know what? It was a dumb thing that I did. I gave the kids the shoes. And so now the media is now throwing rose petals. How great is LeBron with the press? Isn't he nice that he sits down?
So everything that I'm reading here says that he did not actually play. Okay. The game was still going on.
Yeah, the game was still going on. He ran out onto the court celebrating.
He was on the court celebrating, and the fact that he went back on the court with his socks on supposedly makes it worse. Because they're not allowed to go on the court
during play
when they are not playing.
And so the problem with LeBron, the LeBron world is, and the NBA and the sycophant world that we're in, you see it in everything. You see it in politics. You got sycophants on the left, sycophants on the right, and we're all watching the same thing, right? We're all watching the same thing. And then there's some of us who can look and say, that's not cool, or the guy made a mistake. And then you got the same people on one side saying, isn't that great of LeBron? Hey, he was excited. So what if he ran onto the floor while Kyle Kuzma, in between banging Instagram models during timeouts, had a block and LeBron's rooting for his teammates? And then LeBron James has the media people all salivating. It's dripping down their lips and right down onto their shirts, onto their big fat bellies as they sit there and lap him up like a big, big ball of pistachio-flavored gelato, lapping his every inch of his communistic supporting body. But how dare you? How dare any of you criticize LeBron James ever?
You know what? I mean, I agree with you, but in this particular case, I'm like, really? That actually, I would be defending him in this particular case as well.
It's indefensible, Robin.
No, because he already exited the game. He wasn't coming back. They were already blowing out the Utah Jazz, and he just happened to be excited over something that happened. And the fact that he happened to have his socked feet on the court for a brief moment, I don't think is a big deal. And the fact that people were making a huge deal out of it in Utah, I think is stupid.
Listen, he gave his kid, he knew he wasn't going back into it. So I'm not, again, am I calling for his impeachment? Do I want the guy thrown out of the league? There are people suggesting that the Lakers should forfeit the game because he walked.
Stupid.
No, the league, even the officials. This is what makes the NBA a joke, okay? Because the NBA's ratings, by the way, are going down big time.
Yeah.
They're down 15% already this year. And a lot of the reason is because people can't follow the players. It's like college basketball. The one-and-done era of college basketball made it really hard to follow a team because you would watch the Tim Duncans play all 4 years at a school at Wake Forest. So you got to see him. You knew he was going to be there 4 years, and you watched your favorite – you can still watch your favorite team and root for your one-and-done guys, but it makes it harder for the casual fan. The casual fan, they're going to turn on a Duke game because Duke's a big team, and Kansas, and you name the big-time powers, and you're going to watch the games because they're big games and they're great teams. The NBA has now become like college basketball. Players go somewhere, and everybody buys their jerseys, everybody gets excited about them, and it happens in basketball really more than any other sport.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey players bounce around, but a lot of them nobody knows. You're not seeing the superstars getting traded every year or asking to be traded every single year. You don't see Mario Lemieux. You don't see Sidney Crosby or other superstars in hockey say, I've been here long enough. I want to go somewhere else. They're going to win next year. My team's probably not going to win. Let me go to the best team. The NBA really has covered the market on guys who don't want to be there anymore, and they're going to go play with their pals on a glamour team and screw the rest of the league. That's my biggest problem with the NBA now. Players are great. The game is still great. It's the league that's the shithole. And the league is so desperate to try to hang on. That's why they want the China market. Because they know if the ratings slip here, they're still going to sell millions, almost 1 billion people who will buy LeBron James jersey and shoes and Nike product over there. So obviously they don't want to lose that market, so they won't criticize what's going on in Hong Kong. And good for them. They can do whatever they want. But don't come talking to me about your sanctimonious, I'm getting other people's money, and then I'm going to say that I paid my money to build this school. When somebody does something with their own money, I will give them credit. When somebody does something with somebody else's money and then wants all the credit for it, Bafangul, that's what I say to you. It's like these athletes who do these drives. Oh, listen, I bought 20 turkeys for poor people. And then you find out that some company paid him and they bought the turkeys, but he shows up for the photo op. If you didn't buy the turkeys with your money, you're a fraud. I don't care. Use your own damn money, and then I'll give you credit.
Long story short, though, about LeBron, the more that I read the entire story now, I don't see he absolutely should have been called out for the walking.
No, the fans shouldn't call him out.
No,
the fans are calling out the officials.
The officials.
How the Utah Jazz players didn't just stop the game.
And go, what the F?
You know why?
Yeah.
Because the players, the Donovan Mitchells and all the other stars, they worship LeBron.
I agree.
They worship him, so they're not even going to go crazy.
Two separate things.
It's not.
The sock thing, though, I personally like to see
I'm joking. I don't really care that he walked
out. Of his
out.
caliber being excited over the game and supporting his teammates. I think that is awesome. I think it's worse when I see guys that are really talented and they're sitting on the sidelines and they look disinterested. They look like they're bored.
If he had eaten a stroopwafel on the sideline and sat down and just enjoyed the game and enjoyed the stroopwafel, or how do you say it in Dutch?
Stroopwafel.
The stroopwafel. I wouldn't have had a problem with it. Sit down, enjoy the win. I know you haven't won up in Utah in a while. I get it. It's a big deal. And I get supporting your teammates. Again, I don't hate LeBron James. I hate the hype. I hate the hero worship of athletes. He's not a hero. He's a great basketball player. And luckily for him, he gets the coach fired that he doesn't like, and he brings in his buddy players. And eventually, after he brings in guys and thinks they're going to help him, and then he finds out that they're not, and he discards them and tells them to get traded away. And then the owner of the team sucks up to him and says, whatever you want to do,
Play Action
I'll
Reel
go
says,
get
I
you.
hate him.
I'll go get you what you want. Let's be honest. It's all about you. You know, you don't own the team. You're not the company. You're not going to put your own $1 billion that you get from China and buy an NBA franchise because that's too much work. That's too much for work. You just go do a commercial and hold a soda in your hand or a Sprite, not say a word and get paid millions of dollars. God bless you. I'm not jealous of that. I think it's great. I get paid, too, for my work. I got $18 yesterday for things that I did 15 years ago.
It's a beautiful thing.
And if China wants to send me $1 billion, I'll even say something nice.
But I agree. I don't think I have a really hard time with hero worshiping, period, when it's somebody that's just doing their job and they are talented. You can admire them, and especially if they're doing something really good for the community or for children, you can admire them even more and try to emulate that. But to worship somebody just because of the fact that they are a sports player and they're doing their job and they
And by the way, I don't dislike the NBA because of people's political opinions. I don't care. Steve Kerr is a friend. I know, I don't say, geez, I'm never going to talk to Steve Kerr again or watch the Warriors because Steve Kerr is too woke for me. I'm not going to say I'm not going to watch this player or this actor. I'm not like the people who go crazy over. They feel that somebody says something that they disagree with politically, that they are a bad person. And so I never call for boycotts, all this other bullshit.
Actually,
I don't give a damn what your politics
good example is your very good friend Tom Arnold. You are probably, he is so far on the left.
I worry about Tom Arnold. I worry about him.
But my point is that you are still friends with him. You still you still contact each other. You still talk to him. You still care about what happens in his life and vice versa. And politics don't matter when you are friends. They shouldn't matter.
Unfortunately, a lot of people allow politics and all of this nonsense that's been going on in this country to consume their lives. I joke about it. I get in the morning, I go on Twitter, I see a couple of stupid stories, I post it. I post animal videos. I got a beautiful cat video today while his master or his owner, whatever you want to call it. What would you call someone that has a pet? Are they the owner? You can't call them owners anymore. That's almost like saying that the pets are our slaves. They're not our slaves. They're our partners.
Okay,
they're our life partners.
Obviously, you're being PC, but I've heard a lot of people say that we're like
you own a cat. I'm not trying to make this a debate. Like when you say we have 3 cats.
Well,
do we own 3 cats?
I have a mug right there that says Cat Mom.
Right. And some cat moms are good.
Do you own your children?
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
So anyway, when I was trying to talk about this video,
you adopt pets.
Correct.
So even when you purchase them, there's always, you're still adopting them. You're bringing them.
But when you watch these dog shows, they say the owner and the breeder, and then there's the owner. It's like horse racing. The owners of horses who happen to be very rich people for the most part.
TVV, pussy handler.
Exactly right. So anyway, so you got, when you watch the dog shows, you always see, like the stately person is the learned dog expert, the judge, the one who goes out there, and you can say, oh, this is his 75th Westminster Kennel Club dog show, and he likes the poodles, and who doesn't like the poodles every once in a while? You know what I mean? Speaking of poodles, I got a poodle hat on today.
Yes.
The sod poodles.
Sod poodles. But really quick here, because if you adopt a pet,
right?
You're not an owner. You're a dog dad or a mom dad, whatever. Cujo knows says, instead of calling the NBA owners, let's call them daddies now. The NBA dad.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
I love that.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Come to daddy, baby. Come on.
So
wow.
And you get a daddy.
Instead of the Lakers owner, it's
no,
the
they're governors now.
The Lakers daddy.
No.
Daddy.
Owners are racist. Governors are much more.
I like daddy so much
more. I do too. Listen, I've been called. I love when people call me Big Papa. I put my hands in the air like I'm a true player, Robin. Now you know what I have to do, don't you?
Okay, we need some WD-40 for whatever's going on with your desk. It is driving me insane.
How do you know that's my desk?
You have some kind of a squeak going on every time
That's
you move.
the hinge on this thing. I'm coming unhinged, Robin.
Oy vey. It's driving me nuts.
Please bring this up now. Come on, Robin. Please. Just a taste. Come on. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See,
Don't call me an owner.
Here, Cujo knows. James Dolan, daddy of New York.
Crank this up, baby.
I love that.
All right, bounce with me now.
I'm going to call them daddies.
All right, all of what?
To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, allow me to lace these lyrical douches in your bushes. Who rock grooves and make moves with all the mommies. The back of the club.
Bounce with me, baby.
Is where you find me. The back of the club, macking holes, my crew's behind me. Mad question asking, blunt passing, music lasting. But I just can't quit because one of these homies Biggie got to creep with, sleep with, Keep the ep a secret, why not? Why blow up my spot? Cause we both got hot. Now check it, I got more Mac than Craig and in the bed. Believe me, sweetie, I got enough to feed the needy. No need to be greedy, I got mad friends with Benzes. See notes by the layers, true fucking players.
Yeah.
Jump in the Rover and come over, tell your friends jump in the GF3. I got the chronic by the tree. I love it when you call me Big Papa.
Throw your hands in the air like you's a true player.
I love it when you call me Big Papa. Silver honeys getting money, playing niggas like dummies. I love it when you call me Big Papa.
All right.
Wait a minute, no, this is the big best part of it.
Please don't shoot up the place. Cause I see some ladies tonight that should be
having my baby. My baby.
Straight up, honey, I'm asking. Most of these niggas think they be laughing, but they
So the problem with that statement, though, Tony, is you don't see any woman that you want to be having
Well, like
your baby.
I now do simulated babies, simulated sex. I rehearse making babies. My baby making days are over. We're talking about practice here now. It's a simulation.
But would you still practice if that's not the end game? So, I mean, maybe it's more like reminiscing about making babies.
I don't know. Listen, you can't deny the notorious B.I.G., Robin.
That's driving me nuts. That squeak is driving me nuts.
It sounds like a bed. When you're like go to a cheap motel and you can hear like the room next door, like it's squeaking, like there's a bed squeaking and somebody's having sex in the next room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, except there's no enjoyment out of it for me right now.
When I bounce, Robin, it makes noise. I can't go good WD-40 during the show.
I'm tempted to go find some.
Let's get it back to the business now, right?
Reminder, phones are open, and we are ending the show early today. So if you want and need to tell us something, do it now.
Get it off your chest now or forever hold your own peace.
215-462-TONY. That's 215-462-8669.
Now, we got to do this Florida update, Robin, because there's so many of them today. And there's so many great ones. There's two stories that are just absolutely home runs.
Which one is it that you would like me to do first?
We've got a new contender for Teacher of the Year.
Oh, yes.
But then there's another story that's even fresher. And that is...
Well, we're all about fresh, so let's go
Cannonball Run, another Cannonball Run type of maneuver in Florida. And we have video. I think we should do this one first.
Okay.
We can always hold the hot teachers because they're available every day, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on whether you're a 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy or not. Let's go to Florida, ladies and gentlemen, for the first. This one is absolutely insane.
To Florida, we welcome you to the Sunshine State. They're kicking back and soaking up the rays every day in Florida.
Now let's go down there to the car dealership down there in Florida. Down there in Citrus County, Florida, everybody. Because the shit hit the fan down there, and this is absolutely not edited. This is insanity.
It is insanity.
There is insanity in the control room right now, Robin. As someone once said, you know what we have here?
What do we have here?
There's insanity in the control room tonight.
Yes, there is.
Tony, sometimes, you've been driving that old car for really, really long.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom's starting to fall out. It's rusting, especially if you're in Florida. There's a lot of seawater, moisture in the air.
Not in the middle of the state, Robin.
And, there's probably a lot of moisture, so it's rusting out. Maybe your engine's
happens
failing,
everywhere.
whatever.
It happens everywhere.
And you just know there's, special Thanksgiving deals, probably Black Friday deals, all these car lots going on.
I always have a hard time whenever I'm ready to sign a deal for that new Mercedes-Benz or that Lincoln Navigator. I can't find the big bow to go on top. So that kills it. If they don't have the big bow, I'm not signing the contract. I'm sorry.
But maybe in this particular case, it was, that sale was just about to end, and this particular person in Citrus County, Florida, decided that they needed to get there now before the dealership
No, I don't believe that was the case, Robin.
No?
This was the case of somebody driving and falling asleep while they were driving and then realizing, holy shit, I just launched myself into a parking lot of a car dealership. Let's go to the tape.
Oh, wait. Oh, stupid commercial. I should have done this first.
Apparently, this guy was dizzy. He was driving his car, and he had a dizzy spell, or he was on his phone texting and driving. But in Florida, I would say he's probably just dizzy and had some sort of a – he didn't walk like LeBron James did. This guy really had something wrong with him, and this is the result of what happened. And it's all on tape. That's the best part. Let's go to the tape.
Over there, jumped all these vehicles. All of them have dirt on them.
You have to really watch this video multiple times to believe it. The 3 angles capturing the same car flying through the air.
Hit there, went into my trade.
Bruce Azevedo, the sales manager at Crystal Ford Lincoln, narrated the aftermath, shocked that no one on the lot was hurt.
We had customers that were over here to the right, some customers that were behind me, and some customers that were also over here to the left.
Tuesday afternoon at 1:30, the driver told Citrus County deputies he got dizzy, drove off of US 19 in Crystal River, hit the embankment at full speed in the perfect spot to send his car flying.
12 cars he cleared, yeah.
That car might have traveled 139 feet in the air, but it was really the last 2 feet that counted, because those 2 feet meant the difference between the car landing on top of that employee and killing him.
I'd hate for that to be the way to go, you know.
David Jones isn't the employee in this video, but he was close enough, standing at the entrance near a Lincoln Navigator traded in just seconds before it got smashed.
You really can't comprehend what's happening because it was so bizarre. I mean, you're looking at the underbody of a car as it's flying past you. I mean, I watched the video of it, I can't even tell you how many times. Just thinking of it again and again, like that was it.
Azevedo doesn't have a damage estimate, but it will be tens of thousands of dollars. None of that matters.
But like,
wow.
Here at Crystal.
Is that unbelievable?
That's unbelievable.
So the guy got dizzy driving.
139 feet.
And so he goes up. It's a grassy side of the embankment.
It was
like a ramp.
Launch. Yeah,
it was like a launching ramp, like they did in Cannonball Run, like they did in the movie that was filmed down in Alabama when I was down there, the Burt Reynolds movie. That wasn't What was that movie? The one where they jump over the bridge that's out.
I don't know. I think that was a Cannonball Run as
was
well.
Was that the first Cannonball Run?
I think it might have been the first one. And here's I don't know if you heard or noticed. So the SUV that he drove into had
just been traded in. Yeah, the guy said it on the story.
So I mean thank God, because the guy it wasn't his anymore. So he got whatever he was going to get out of the SUV.
Yeah, I wonder whether it's the guy who just traded it in.
No,
insurance that covers it. No, it's got to be the car lot, right?
It has to be the car lot.
Wow. Wow, 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 as Oprah once said. Now, who's the dude that does the Lincoln commercials now?
With the crooked nose.
Famous actor. He's like always stoned and shit.
Michael
McConaughey. Michael McConaughey luckily got away just in time after trading in that Lincoln that he's been driving around in a daze. Speaking of about a guy driving around
dazed and confused.
Dizzy, Matthew McConaughey, dude, chills in those Lincoln Navigators, man. Those are nice, though. That's a lot of damage. But the fact that nobody got killed, the fact that he only hit a couple of cars, Evel Knievel's son has to be looking at this and saying, my dad had to use elaborate ramps, and this guy goes over 12 cars off a piece of grass.
And his own car didn't
twist. Matthew, what did I say?
I don't know.
I didn't say Matthew McConaughey?
And that his own car didn't twist, but that it landed on all 4 wheels and only crashed into a couple of cars afterwards and he walked away. That's unbelievable.
That guy, luckily, will be getting a role in the next Cannonball Run, filmed down there in Citrus County, Florida, right on the property of Citrus Ford. Citrus Ford, some previously used, or what do they call when they get a luxury car? They don't call them used or they're previously owned.
Yes, previously
we have a nice previously owned 2018 Lincoln Navigator right here, driven by Matthew McConaughey's grandmom when he was out getting stoned at a party with a bunch of friends who he just decides to leave. And we're like the woman now, the Lincoln commercials. Have you seen those? The woman drives in her car. She's obviously a rich bitch. And she pulls into her driveway.
Yes.
And then she walks inside, and like her parents are in there, and they're doing goat yoga.
Goat yoga, and then her children. There's several.
Their
different
kids are playing one other commercial, and then what does she do? She does what all rich bitches do. She goes outside, slams the door, gets in her Lincoln Navigator, closes the rooftop, and then puts on some music and lays back. Luckily, no guy comes over the ramp and crashes into it, taking her out right there as she's relaxing,
who
thinking that she was in a
messages?
safe space in her own driveway while her parents and kids were wrecking the entire beautiful $2 million home.
who approved those commercials? It is the most. It is like the message
Certified
that it's sending
pre-owned,
is you don't like your children, you don't like your parents,
You love your car, though.
you love your car more than anything else. You don't want to deal with life. You don't want to parent. You don't want to support. I mean, it's a really bad, sending very bad message.
Sort
I
of
don't
like that Peloton chick, right?
And these are stupid marketing people. Stupid.
Somebody must be buying these cars because you know why? Every year, this time of the year, every car company, especially the luxury car companies, what do? They show ads of rich people who go inside their big homes and then have the keys to brand new cars, cars that cost $50,000 and above. And God bless you, I'm a capitalist. You can do whatever you want with your money. And then, of course, they have the bows on top of them, the big red bows. Do you know anybody? I'm serious. I know a lot of rich people. I don't know anyone anywhere who has ever bought matching cars or a new luxury vehicle for their significant other, their comods, their boutons, even their wives. If you're a man or a woman who makes a lot of money, bought a luxury car for her husband and then had it outside on Christmas morning with a gigantic big-ass red bow on it. Do you? But every year they do the same things. Every year, Robin, you're going to get down on that thing. I'll have some whip. Can you bring the whipped cream down? I want to go Andrew Yang on you here.
What do you think? Is it a little
Give me this little squirt down there. I feel like the Tin Man. Where's the squeak, Robin?
I'm trying to find it.
I have to squeak the chair here now. Robin is under the desk, so you may see her head. And if you're just joining us on Twitch and you see a woman's head and she's down underneath the desk and it's bobbing up and down, she forgot the, and we just bought some new whipped cream, too. I wanted to go, Andrew Yang on you, Robin. I don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from a hinge.
I don't know. I can't find it right now.
You're not supposed to be squirting WD-40 during a show, Robin.
Well, it's driving me insane.
What the hell is going on down there, someone?
You are failing us.
Yes, you are, Robin. Just focus on the show. You can't let peripheral shit bother you. We're focused on a broadcast here. What's the matter with you?
I have very sensitive ears.
Jesus.
As Falcon 39, let it go.
You
Robin.
could never be an athlete. You talk about rabbit ears. Every little side thing bothers you, Robin.
It does.
You got to focus. You got to be locked in.
No, see, but that's the difference, is that I'm a multitasker, and so I'm constantly paying attention to other things. It's very hard for me to just narrow down.
On the Twitch stream right now, Cujo No says, is this the Bruno Show or Pornhub? Well, it could be both. We should have a separate channel. We could have you know how they have upskirt cameras and stuff? You normally get arrested for that? We could have under desk cam here and then keep track of what's going on down there.
Yeah, not much. Not much.
We have another Florida update, Robin. Because you know I love these stories. And every single guy who hears these stories, you know what they say, Robin? You know what they say.
What do they say, Tony Bruno?
Why did this never happen to me when I was a young teen?
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to Florida for a double header. A Florida teacher. Yes, not just having sex. Having lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of sex. Let's go to your teacher's aide. Miss Robin, who once was at a PTA meeting and turned into an orgy.
Down
your correspondent.
to Florida. We welcome you to the Sunshine State. They're kicking back and soaking up the rays.
Every day in Florida. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we go right back down to Florida, where you have a 40-year-old teacher.
That is right.
Not just getting busy, getting real
I wonder,
busy.
now we were talking about sidewalk sex and subway sex. Now we got teacher sex. Florida teacher, here's her photograph.
Not bad, I'd bang it.
Now
I'd hit it.
She is a special education teacher. And she, what is her name here? Susan Weddle.
Weddle?
40 years old.
Not related to Eric Weddle, of course, a defensive back of San Diego, Baltimore, and now in
down
L.A.
in Pensacola.
Pensacola, Florida, down there in that panhandle.
She is accused of having sex with her son's 15-year-old friend several hundred times.
How many times?
Several hundred.
Damn.
So
a 15. So let's visualize this. So I guess her son goes to school with this kid.
Yes.
15-year-old classmates. And so after a football game at the what's the name of the school there?
They kicked off their relationship at the Women's Cantonment Home. I don't know what that is. If it's
a home.
It's her home.
Okay.
It's
in Cantonment, Florida.
It's Cantonment, Florida.
Not containment, because you can't contain her once she gets loose.
That was confusing. After the two attended her son's football game, they started drinking. Of course.
Wait, so she's 40 and the 15-year-old started drinking,
Yes.
and she's like, hey, okay, I'm a teacher. Let's have a couple pops, buddy.
And the teen said that once he was drunk, he convinced her to have sex with him.
So he, the
Even
15-year-old friend of her son, makes the first move.
Yes.
And then even though she told him she knew it was wrong, she said yes.
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 Yes. So then after the initial incident, the pair allegedly had sexual relationship that lasted more than a year, with dalliances at her house, his home, in her car, on the beach, all over the
What about in the
place.
sun? They don't have Subways in Pensacola.
No.
Well, they have Subway sandwich shops, but ladies and gentlemen,
Now, Weddle was his first and only sexual partner, and he believed himself to be in love with her.
well, if you're 15 and you got a 40-year-old hot mom banging you everywhere you go, hundreds of times. Not a couple of times, not one time, not two, not three, not four. Hundreds of times.
I know.
That's unbelievable. I thought I was lucky when I was 17.
Well, you were lucky when you were 12.
We got to play this in the background,
But several witnesses have come forward to report the pair's relationship, and in November, a high school guidance counselor tipped off the Department of Children and Families. And there were apparently damning text messages between the teen and Weddle. And so they came in and
Is her name
ruined it.
Weddle or is the kid's name Weddle?
Her name is Weddle.
Because they don't
have
release the
no,
kid's
they
name
don't
because
he's a minor.
So she
But-
was, I guess, she was greasing him with like iPhones and necklaces and pearl necklaces. No, he was giving her the and bracelets.
But they they came in and ruined it for that poor 15-year-old kid.
Enjoy it while you had it, kid. You ain't going to get that again. When you get married, you'll be lucky to have sex hundreds of times per decade after the first 5 years. We got to play this song, Robin. Kill the Florida theme. This song has to be playing in the background. It's a must-do. So please bring it up. See, this should have been the backdrop of this song because it's like a minute long, the opening. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Let me get the drop down. Do we have a big conclusion to this story, or did you read the whole thing?
No,
right?
that was it. It's over.
There's no video of this chick. There's a picture of her.
Yeah,
We have the
there's a
still
picture.
shot, so to speak.
Which we showed already.
What do you think, Robin?
I mean, I'm sure that this is not a very good shot. She has no makeup on, and the lighting's not good. But,
Hey, you get a 40-year-old mom. I told you. What's the magical age, Robin?
40.
40-year-old women, when they hit 40, they get absolutely freaky. Uninhibited, unvarnished, untattered, unchained, unencumbered.
No, look, I know that I'm not being very PC by saying that, they ruined it for that kid. But I remember what I was like when I was 15, 16, 17, and how I tried to. I think that it.
Robin, are you speechless now over a 15-year-old kid banging a 40-year-old woman? Have you ever banged a 15-year-old kid when you were 40, Robin?
When I was 16.
I just dropped my mouse and it just fell apart.
I was trying very, very hard to lose my virginity to an older man.
If Nancy Pelosi were listening to this right now, Robin, she would go absolutely bonkers.
I know.
What kind of Christian are you? What kind of sinner are you?
I'm just saying that I think it's like, I don't think that, I mean, whatever.
Let's go to the Sex with Teacher hotline right now. Tony Romo's not there with Coronas, but Miss Robin is there right now. Let's go to the
Dean
phones.
apparently has a comment to say about this.
He has a comment to say about everything, that son of a bitch.
What's up, Tony?
What's going on? How come when I come... Well, actually, I have banged a couple of chicks in Florida, hot chicks. They're probably teachers.
Yeah, Tony, I don't want to hear about you having problems down here in Florida. God, I remember we were supposed to be at a golf tournament at 8 o'clock in the morning, and Steve Dumeg and I, God rest his soul, and a couple of the friends were over at the bar because we know the owner. We're sitting in there, and the hotel's right across the street, and we're sitting there, and we're looking at our watches. Tony was supposed to meet us here 15 minutes ago. Where the fuck's he at?
Well, watch your language now.
5 more minutes go by. We all decide to get up because we know the owner of the motel that Tony got the free room from. So we go over and knock on his door. Tony, what are you doing? He's standing there in his underwear. We're supposed to be golfing in like 10 minutes. He goes, all right, give me a second. The bartender from the bar we were at last night still in my bed over here. I got to get rid of her.
Let me give myself a roaring round of applause for that.
What year was this?
This is,
well before you, Robin.
Yeah.
No, I know that. But I was like, around what year was this?
This is right after I became separated from my wife, and then I became a man whore. It happens, I'm probably not the only person that does this.
Tony, I don't want to make you look real bad, but I think your wife was in Ian Beckles, who used to play for the Bucks' condo on the beach that night. And
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That wasn't when I had my family down there. This is I was living in L.A. then. Come on, don't give me that crap. I wasn't married. That's why I started getting loose in Tampa. That's why I started, and listen, I didn't even go out and try to hit on these waitresses and stuff. I would go to Tampa, I'd go into a bar, and these waitresses were hitting on me. And this just happened to be one of those circumstances where the bar we were in had a hotel attached to it right next door. I mean, it was almost like God wanted it to happen. As Reggie White said when he went to the Green Bay Packers from the Philadelphia Eagles, this is where God wanted me to be. And that's where God wanted me to be that night.
Beautiful. All right, enough about you and your
Next time on Tales from Tampa Bay, Dean and I will reminisce about the Gasparilla Parade and on the floats down there. What's the name? Gundy. What's the name of the street that it runs down? The Gasparilla. Gandy Boulevard. Thank you.
Yeah, next on there is when Tony took Miss Hooters International to a bowling event while everybody else is partying in the bar.
Exactly right. And trust me,
anyway,
I had some great splits. I knocked down a couple of 7-10 splits that night like you'd never believe, Bo.
The name of the place, the name of that bar restaurant / is called Splitsville.
Splitsville is right. I was Splitsville,
right.
And then I said, that's enough is enough. I have had it with the single life, and that is it.
Back to something more interesting.
What's more interesting than that?
Well, these school teachers.
Oh, school.
What's amazing to me is, like, if I'm these 15-year-old boys and I'm banging these teachers, why are you telling your friends and your parents and everybody else, I'm milking this, I'm banging this chick for 4 years, I'm getting straight A's in every class, because if I'm failing a class, hey, listen, I'm not doing too good in math, you need to go work something out with that math teacher, I'm coming forward with this. I mean, I don't understand how they turn these teachers in.
Well, I don't think they did. I think eventually somebody finds out. For example, her son and this kid went to school.
Right, but
You think her son? He was telling his son, "Hey, by the way, your mom's really hot in the sack, Bo. You should see some of the stuff your mom has been teaching me. She is wild, man. You wouldn't believe what she likes."
No, I think they were caught. They were
exactly. They get caught.
Yeah.
Right, no, I know.
How can you bang a woman
all the time?
a couple of hundred times? Most of these teachers were having sex with, and you notice when women have sex with boys, nobody has a problem with it. But if a boy has, if a man teacher has sex with one of his female students, all of a sudden he's got to be put away. What's a double standard?
I think, according to law, everybody has problems with them, and I think that there are people now that are seeing that it's, if you're going to be equal, it has to be equal. I am actually saying that for both men and women, I think that there's a lot of time that they don't take into account a teenager's sexual prowess, and that they're oftentimes, it's not just the teachers that are coercing the young people. It can happen the other way around as well. Now, in my case,
absolutely.
Yeah, in my case, it didn't work for the older gentleman said no. I mean, like, he was not open to it because he knew that he would get in trouble. And
Robin,
I just find it amazing. Like, Barstool Sports always has these stories with the teachers. You go in there, they got hundreds of them.
Yeah, you know what? You know how they find the stories that they put on there? The same way I do. They go to other newspapers and websites.
No, I'm not saying but I'm just saying, when I see the stories and I read about it, and then I hear them, like, these boys, like, letting somebody know their friends or the teacher or the principal, I don't understand. It just boggles my mind. If I'm banging this teacher, why would I want this to stop?
Because you want to brag. You want to say, look, you see her over there? You see Miss So-and-so? I'm banging that right now. How many guys who aren't married or who are married, and then they say have a hot girlfriend, and then they with their buddies in a bar, and they're like, hey, see that over there? You know what? You know what I'm banging right now? That over there.
Let's be real. Let's
Check
think
her
this
out,
through.
man.
I think that he probably did keep it secret for quite a while. But after they'd been doing it and had this sort of affair for a year, after like 6 months, 9 months, you start to be a little bit more lax. You start to, you're having a relationship, so you start to talk. You mention things. It just sort of.
And it gets old. And, it's like after 7 years of marriage, you get tired. After 7 months of a 15-year-old banging a 40-year-old, it gets old. I mean, how many times can you bang the same woman in a year? Hundreds. There's only 365 days in a year. So if he banged her 200 times in 1 year, that guy should get a roaring round of applause right now.
He's had more sex than I am, and I'm freaking married.
Robin, turn my damn machine back on.
Sorry. Busy more than I am, and I got a wife. What is wrong with this picture?
It's an outrage is what it is.
Well,
you know why people always said, how come you never hit? My teachers were nuns. I never knew it. I never even once thought about what they had under the habit.
There's porn for that.
I know there is. I usually watch movies. But trust me, the movies where I've seen like really nasty nuns, they do not in any way, shape, or form resemble the nuns that taught me. Even as I was trying to visualize, it just wasn't the same.
No. Did you have any nun teacher that was under the age of 40?
No.
They were all older.
When I was in elementary school, they were all pointer and ruler wielding demons.
Oh yeah, my knuckles have been
Demons.
busted up so many times by freaking nun teachers. It ain't funny. My mom actually took me out of. I was in private school till I think I was like 8 years old. And I finally had to tell my mom, look at my knuckles, man. They're just getting hit too much.
Oh yeah, I mean, if the stuff that happened to me in elementary school, in Catholic school, which has now been turned down, they tore my school down because it burned to the ground because of all the sins that have been committed in there, all the acts.
I could sue these sons of bitches nowadays.
Exactly.
When a teacher hits you like they used to back in the day, I could walk away with millions, man.
Exactly. I'm telling you, I had my ears boxed. I had some of the most heinous acts committed against me
It's a good thing
by
that
the nuns.
You could have had cauliflower ears.
Exactly.
Just be given to you by
the
the
teachers that I had, the nuns I had, they would grab you by the ears and pull your head and then do BAM! And do the, imagine if, you know what would happen now if that happened in school? Somebody would whip a gun out and shoot the teacher dead.
The only time that I've ever been hit by a teacher was by a nun. And I was only in a Catholic kindergarten. It was in kindergarten. It wasn't even like elementary school. It was kindergarten. I was hit with a ruler by Mother Superior, and I was in that school for probably less than a month. As soon as that happened, my mom took me out.
I tried to talk myself out of it. You know how I got myself out of this whole funk about nuns? I watched the movie The Devils. I told you about this movie. I can't find it. I got to find it.
It is.
Have you seen the movie?
Crazy.
Have you seen the movie? I don't know if it's called The
No.
Devils or Devils. I don't know if it's The Devils or
I think
Devils.
it's The Devils.
Not the New Jersey Devils.
No, not them. They just fired their coach the other day, and I don't blame them. No, it's the Devils did beat the Canadians, though. No, that was last week. I'm looking at the National Hockey League.
Yeah, my mom, you're paying people to hit me. Get me out of here.
You know what? But that was discipline because kids listened back then.
The
They
Devils.
got disciplined. They got disciplined. See, we got disciplined at home and in school. Now
And in
kids,
school. My
now
dad
kids
had a
don't
red
get
belt.
disciplined
He kicked my
anywhere.
ass.
You realize that kids don't get disciplined at home, and they don't get disciplined in school. They just do whatever the hell they want.
That's why this country's a mess.
The movie is called The Devils.
The
It is
Devils.
1971 movie.
I
Ken
remember
Russell's.
seeing this as a kid. It's a Ken Russell movie. It is absolutely. When you think, now remember, 1971, seeing this kind of stuff in a theater was like mind-boggling. It was like seeing The Graduate when you were a kid. You know, the nude scenes, the flashes of the naked breasts. I mean, this movie is absolutely softcore porn.
Robin, when you end the show today at 3 o'clock, go ahead and run that on your Twitch stream.
Yeah, right.
The Devils. And the actor, I mean, this had some famous actors in it.
Vanessa Redgrave, right?
Yeah, Vanessa Redgrave was in it. Who's the guy with the hair lip who plays the actor? Stacy Keach, not Stacy Keach, the other guy.
I don't remember.
Look at the cast.
Conrad writes, Dean, go back to the Mrs. Huda International story.
Wow.
Well, Dean, we have to end the show,
Anyway.
so I'm going to let you go.
All right, guys, have a good day.
All right, who's the actor now? I need to know, Robin, because I'm telling you, if you want to see a weird movie involving nuns and nudity and violence and sex and all that other kind of good stuff, can we play the trailer, though, Robin, on the way out?
I'm playing it right now.
But there's no sound.
I don't want to play the sound.
Why not?
Well, because we have other stuff that we need to talk about. One of the things that I want to remind people is that tonight, if you are wanting to be in the running to win one of those 4 tickets to be on the bus with Tony Bruno on December 15th.
That's right.
The game tickets are included. And
We're going to Washington from South Philadelphia. We'll get board the bus, luxury bus, at Toll Man Joe's in South Philly on Oregon Avenue, right across the street from Tony Luke's, the original there. Toll Man Joe's. And then we get on the bus, 54 people, food, beverage, Carson Burgers, Bison Burgers named after Carson Wentz, all kinds of drinks, accoutrement, funny stuff. Oliver Reed was the guy I was thinking of, Robin. He was the actor in there with Vanessa Redgrave. It's going to be fun. So we got a couple of open seats for the people are sending Robin emails if they want to be on board.
If several people have already sent their email into me, so they're already in the hopper, as you say, or as Dean would say. But if you haven't sent me an email and you are able to go and you want to be considered for one of those 4 tickets, send it to MissRobinAustin at gmail.com. MissRobinAustin at gmail.com. Send me your name and phone number. And tonight at Screwballs, I will be making the announcement as to who the 4 winners are.
Luigi's going to be there. Harry Mays and I are regular once-a-week get-together for a full show. You know, we do the crossover on Wednesdays. So Harry and I, the coach will be there tonight. Coach Henry Racich. We'll rip him. What's the deal on Friday night, Robin? We have an update?
We are not doing a show.
No, I'm talking about the other thing we were going to do on Friday night.
No, I haven't been able to get through to my email right
Is there
now.
breaking news on that?
No, not yet.
If there is, we'll have it tonight for you.
Yeah.
So we'll preview the Thursday night game, a huge one, Dallas and the Chicagoland area Bears.
Definitely watch the show from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight live on twitch.tv so that you know if you are a winner.
So we're doing the doubleheader. Yeah. Not Coach Camille. He's nowhere to be found. But we will be on live. Come on out to Screwballs up there in King of Prussia. It's the best sports bar in Montgomery County. We'll have pizza tonight. We'll have giveaways.
Yes, and I'm sorry that there's no show tomorrow night. I will be prepared.
Robin's got to leave for Arizona.
Really early on Saturday morning. I'm going to spend a quality week with my father, who is unfortunately end-stage heart failure. And so we're all flying out there to be with him.
And by the way, that thirst for a non-white quarterback, the bus is not going to be all white. This isn't the Democratic National Committee. We welcome all. This will be a diverse bus trip to Washington, D.C., to go watch the Redskins play. I mean, how much more diverse can you be? We'll have Indians. We'll have African Americans. We'll have Latinos.
We'll have pasty white chicks.
Robin will wear blackface so she can be elected president of the United States one day. By the way, The Nun is a great movie, but it's not dirty. I mean, it's creepy. The Nun movie. Robin didn't even want to watch it.
I can't watch it.
That's not the kind of nun movies I like to watch. I like to watch the dirty ones. You know what I'm saying? So that's tonight, coming up from 6 to 8 p.m. Mr. Thursday Night will be in the house. You could be in the house. Come on by. I think I broke my Apple mouse because it fell on the floor, and then this piece is remaining from it. It fell out. I don't know what it is, but
Here.
it's still working. So.
Well, then you didn't.
No, that fell out from inside.
Oh, interesting.
But it's still working, so that's all that matters.
Oh, I know what this is.
It's
I
a
think
Grandma stand.
It is the piece off of the slider, the battery holder in the back that has the screw in it normally to hold it in.
I don't know. We'll find out later. In the meantime, we'll see you in a couple of hours. Don't drink and drive out there. Don't text and drive out there. And don't have sex with your teacher unless you're both consenting adults or work for the FBI. God bless America, too. Never forget that. We'll see you tonight. See you back here, tonight on 97.3 FM, too. So you want to hear it over the radio, on the air, 97.3 FM. Download the app and on Twitch as well. So you have two ways to check it out, yo. In the meantime, good night, everybody.
This knife has a straight edge on it, so it's very easy. Maybe in our world here, there lives a happy little mountain.
Thank you for listening to the Tony Bruno Show on BrunoNation Live. Don't forget to subscribe on the Twitch mobile app so you don't miss any of BrunoNation's hilarity and hijinks, because it is definitely must-watch radio. Of course, you can catch the archived audio on your favorite podcast app like Spreaker or iTunes. Plus, if you subscribe via Twitch, you can watch any of our archived videos. We hope to see you back here every Monday through Friday. See you soon!